All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our third Savvy Chat. Super excited about this one because today we're really going to get into the heart of what Savvy does by talking about how one can use their patient experience to create change. And we're thrilled to have our community manager, Katy Fetters, on as our special guest tonight, especially as July is Get to Know Savvy Month. So it's kind of a twofer. You get to both get to meet Katy, who's fantastic and I love her so much, as well as hear a little bit about kind of the type of work that we want to do. So welcome to all those who are watching us live and to those who will be watching us later on. And Katy, why don't you give a little hello and wave and tell people where you're chiming in from tonight.
All right. Hi, everyone. It's really great to be here. This is my first YouTube live video ever. I am tuning in from Boulder, Colorado, where I am in graduate school right now. So lived here for about a year now. I'm originally from Orange County, California. So it's been a little different being away from the ocean, but it's a nice change for sure.
Nice. So what brought you to Colorado? You say you're there for grad school. What are you studying?
Yeah, so I'm in a program at CU called Media and Public Engagement. So it's kind of the way I describe it, it's pretty new. I'm only the third cohort. So it's kind of a cross between like media studies and media theory and public engagement and kind of putting media, like what we learn in media studies classes, to practice. Yeah, so I'm just kind of learning how to engage my own online community, CP Strong, a little bit better through my graduate program.
That's awesome. And so tell me about that. I'm not sure that our viewers tonight are going to know what CP Strong is, and certainly you got to educate me on that when we met. So tell us a little bit about your background, what kind of health conditions sort of brought you into the fold, and about CP Strong, because I'm really curious about that.
Yeah, so I was born with cerebral palsy. It's really common in premature births, and I'm also a twin, and it's really common in multiple births as well. And I started CP Strong. Well, it really originated from this blog I started when I was 17 called Teen Cerebral Palsy. And just kind of as I grew out of my teenage years, I kind of wanted to take it in a different direction and start talking about having cerebral palsy as a 20-something, navigating life as a young adult, and just kind of wanting to connect with others in the same situation as I am with CP. And that I started CP Strong about a year and a half ago when I got this awesome leg brace that I wear called the ExoSim. And so I kind of used that blog to start talking about my experiences as someone with CP wearing the ExoSim, just to kind of let people know that this brace is out there. And then from there, just kind of started the Instagram account and really engaging people through Instagram and telling other people's stories. And it's been really awesome to kind of see it blossom into something that's just beyond my own experiences with CP.
Yeah, okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. So, so you have cerebral palsy, and I have had the pleasure of seeing this super cool ExoSim that you're talking about, but a lot of people probably don't know, first of all, what cerebral palsy, how it's really affecting you. So why don't you talk a little bit about that, and then maybe you can also, I don't know, are you wearing it? Can you show us your ExoSim?
Yeah, I'm wearing like half of it. So it's this, just kind of looks like a typical AFO leg brace, which stands for ankle foot orthosis. And there's usually a piece that I wear up to my thigh as well to help stabilize my knee, but around the house I don't need to wear it as much.
And why do you need that in the first place? How does cerebral palsy affect you?
So yeah, I'm affected on the left side of my body. It's called hemiplegic cerebral palsy. And basically how CP affects me is my muscles are really tight. I have a really hard time relaxing that side of my body. And so because of the muscle tightness, I can't really control basically the way I walk. So my brain has a hard time telling like my Achilles and my calf and that whole area of my leg to just kind of relax. And so I don't make the heel to toe motion. And so what the ExoSim helps me do is walk heel to toe and just better align the whole left side of my body. So even my posture's improved and my hips are a little bit more equal when I walk. So that's pretty much how it affects me.
Yeah, well, cool. So you got this super cool brace. You started sharing your experiences a little bit earlier. So with CP Strong, I mean, you've really created a movement around this, what I was really taken by, that, you know, you and I had been introduced through a mutual friend, but I didn't know you were out there making this whole sort of CP Strong movement. And so you just mentioned that you have an Instagram following, that you kind of rally behind this. So, you know, I guess before we think about that, there was, of course, a time before you didn't share your story. And I can empathize with that time, you know, dealing with a chronic condition when you're younger. And then something inside tells you to either share it once, share it twice. So I'm curious, as you started to open up with people before you even got to creating CP Strong, you know, how did people react when you started sharing about the condition that you experience and live with?
Well, I think I started sharing my experiences with CP kind of out of a more personal need to just connect with others and meet and talk to someone like me, a teenager dealing with their own just kind of body insecurities of walking differently. And so it was kind of more stemmed from like a really just personal need to just kind of open up about my life with CP and, you know, my struggles and insecurities. And I was shocked by just the positive response and how many people responded. I kind of had no idea that there was as many people with CP out there as there are today. And I think just from being online so open about having CP, it just kind of made me realize like how important these stories are and sharing these experiences, because, you know, even if I feel alone as a 17-year-old, like at one point being like, oh my God, like I'm never going to meet someone with CP, or no one's ever going to like me because I'm different. Just kind of putting it out there and realizing that other people are going through the same thing, and that you can kind of, I don't know, just share those experiences, even if they're negative ones, but something good will come out of that. And I think what I gained is a lot of confidence in myself and realizing that I have a lot to offer the world and people, and I'm actually like an interesting human being, and people don't like, they'll look past my CP and the way that I walk. And so I think just learning that, you know, by sharing kind of other people's stories and showing that people play sports with CP, people drive cars, and people do all the things that everyone else can do, maybe just a little bit differently or slower, however CP affects someone. It just kind of makes me realize, like, by being the one to kind of vocalize these stories, it just makes me so empowered to be a part of this patient community and to build up this hashtag that kind of really didn't mean a ton until I started putting it up on Instagram and just kind of seeing it take off and take a life of its own. And so every time I feature someone on the Instagram account, I always ask them, well, what does CP Strong, hashtag CP Strong mean to you? And so it's really great to see the kinds of responses that I get, because I think even just, you know, I have my own conception of what it means to be CP Strong, but I actually am learning so much about cerebral palsy from other people. And it's just really eye-opening to see that everyone, you know, has these different experiences. And so that's just kind of where it's taken me so far.
No, I mean, it's great. It's such a journey, because these things that we may associate as negative or taking away certain opportunities from us because we look different from our peers, we have different abilities, etc. You know, what you're talking about, how you gain confidence, you learned that, you know, you actually do have something valuable to contribute. It really gets to the heart of what it is to share those experiences, and the fact that they can be used for good, and they have meaning, and they have value, and they should make you feel empowered that there's something that you have a unique expertise in that others wouldn't. And so it's, you know, it's great to talk to other people who have kind of experienced that. And you have many times over with this movement. I added in our comments here for our viewers to make sure to check out hashtag CP Strong on Instagram. You've done an incredible thing, not only sharing your own story, but making sure that the voices of others in the CP community are being heard too. And now you guys can, of course, understand why we're so thrilled that she's here with Savvy now, helping us make sure that our members are also heard and valued, because we want everybody to have those experiences. You don't have to be the leader of a movement, but your stories, your experiences still matter. So we're just thrilled that Katy's going to help us share that. So it brings me to one of the things that we think about all the time at Savvy is, you know, what's still missing? What is missing so that more people can share those experiences and feel that empowerment and confidence and you know, sense of purpose? So what do you think? You've been doing this for a while now. What's out there? What can we be doing to help other people find their voice?
Well, I think number one is to continue to share our stories. And I think that, you know, people have been hesitant to me, like they'll message me and be like, hey, I kind of want to like post something on CP Strong. And I just really encourage it, because I think that people are surprised by how empowering and meaningful it is to open up about your condition and to just kind of see how many people you really impact. And so I think just why I'm so excited about Savvy, part of that is because it seems to me like it's going to be the next platform, the next channel, where this kind of missing element of there's all these stories out there all over the internet. Everyone's kind of able to broadcast themselves now, and that's really awesome. But I think Savvy kind of at least just kind of creates a pathway where, you know, if doctors and researchers or whoever kind of needs to utilize patient experiences, like needs that information for something revolutionary, that they can come to the platform and speak directly with patients or read on Savvypedia about certain conditions. So I just kind of envision Savvy being that network where this can more easily happen. I think it is already happening on the internet. I just think it'll just kind of create a better avenue for stories to more easily be heard and these experiences to kind of matter in a way beyond just talking.
As you say, I mean, these stories are happening all the time. People are out there sharing them. It's just a matter of, you know, what we're trying to do at Savvy is make sure that people know that those experiences want to be heard by people in the industry, and they have value and they can get paid for them and otherwise. And so I think just being able to kind of come together and bring sort of the best practices around engaging with patients in terms of how they may engage with, you know, professionals. But that's not the end all be all of sharing one story. These can be peer connections. It can be galvanizing behind the hashtag, you know, really making sure that those who haven't been heard, we hear this all the time in the rare disease community. And like you said, with CP as a teenager, are you ever going to meet anybody else? I mean, I also was a kiddo with arthritis thinking, my gosh, I'll never meet anybody. And now the internet lets that happen. So it's just great that we can be able to do that. You know, here's a thought that I hadn't really, you know, thought we might talk about, but I'm curious to put you on the spot here. What do you think about any sort of opportunities for people to be, you know, meeting and engaging more offline? What does that look like in your mind? And have you had any experiences with that in the CP community?
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome to me that you bring that up, because I've been thinking about this a ton the past year or so. Because now I think that there is such a momentum online in all these patient communities, and it's really exciting. And I think the next step is to move offline, and I don't necessarily know what that looks like, but I'm even thinking about planning what I'm calling it now a CP social, where anyone in the CP Strong Cerebral Palsy community can come to this event that I dream of putting on in the next year or so. And, you know, what that would look like for me is, you know, renting out just a space where people can come to, hopefully to an accessible location, where we can all just meet each other and talk and have, like, I don't know, speed rounds of cool discussion topics that everyone's interested in talking about, and where parents can meet, you know, adults with CP. And I just imagine this awesome day where patients just get to meet each other in kind of a non-formal setting. I think that conferences sometimes, I haven't been to too many. The first kind of co-op one I was at was when I met you last fall. And so, yeah, I think just kind of trying to merge online and offline advocacy and work I could see it happening. So hopefully people will be interested in coming to an event like that.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think you bring up a really great point too about talking about, you know, is it parents, is it, you know, I hate to use the term caregiver because it's kind of a loaded term that people don't necessarily associate with. I asked my husband one time, did you know that you're my caregiver? And he's like, what? You know, because people don't necessarily know those labels. So let's just say loved ones, family members, you know, other partners. It's such an important perspective that they have. And I think oftentimes we always talk about patient experience, but really there's so much more that goes into that. And so how do you see kind of the supporting cast who has such an important role? How do you see them sort of in this, you know, world navigating, sharing their own experiences?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, I see so many, like what I call CP moms, kind of who are subscribed to CP Strong and all these other accounts that I'm on. And I think, I don't know, it would be really interesting to meet more parents of young ones with CP. I mean, you know, it doesn't have to just be CP too, other caregivers in this space, because I think that our experiences as adults are so valuable to them in a different way, because they're looking at like their own other person that they have to kind of guide and care for. And I sense a lot of like worry in that space. And so I don't know if I have an answer for you. I would hope that it would just kind of, that kind of meeting and that would provide some sort of reassurance and like, look, we're all human here. Just because some of us have different needs than others doesn't mean that, I don't know, it all can't be figured out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I think what we're talking about too is getting more people involved, be it the people themselves who are living with certain conditions or the people around them. So what would you tell people who haven't yet gotten involved sharing their stories? You know, how would you kind of share with them about whether they shouldn't, things to think about? I'll throw that to you.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think that sharing your own story, if you're hesitant or embarrassed or, you know, whatever you're feeling, I'm kind of just the type of person, it's like, go out and give it a try, and if it doesn't work, you can take it down. I don't know. Or just, you know, in public, being open about your condition is actually really, I think, freeing in a way. I mean, like even on like a bus, if someone like asks, like, oh, to me, my brace is so visual, so people often ask me, well, what's wrong with you? Or like, why do you walk like that? Or, you know, it's very like upfront questions, and I have to kind of dodge it in whatever way. And sometimes I'll be very direct and I say, I have cerebral palsy, and then they'll ask, well, what's that? And so I take it as an opportunity to kind of just be informative and educational. And even with little kids, I actually love getting their questions, because they'll be like, do you break your leg? Or like, what's wrong? And I just love taking that opportunity and that time to educate them on, oh, no, I have a disability, and just kind of in a way of like normalizing, like, this is how a lot of people live their lives. And so I think just contributing your own story, whether it's a person on a bus or an Instagram post that hundreds of people will see, they just all have different rewards, really. And I think even for a caregiver to create a savvy profile and learn about patients that way and share their own experiences as a caregiver, like there's just so many avenues and aspects of the patient experience. And so I find it all very valuable.
That's awesome. Well, and so like to that end, you mentioned how we met gosh, maybe 9 months ago at this point.
Yeah.
And my sense of time is all off. And yeah, and then you started to learn a little bit more about the co-op. So I'm curious just what even did resonate with you about Savvy, because there were several different things that we kind of had in common.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, your co-op really was my first introduction to like a co-op, believe it or not. Like my professor, Nathan Schneider from CU Boulder, introduced me to you. And I was his assistant at the Platform Co-op Conference and just was taking it all in. And I met your puppets, and that was fun. But I just think it's such a cool realization to know that like I'm a part of this. Like I think even with working with you, I kind of consider you like my boss, I guess. But then I also realize we're partners in this, you know. And I know you wouldn't approve of me using that term, but it's just like I have to kind of realize that like I actually have something to contribute to this, and I have something to say about like where this goes. And I'm really excited to meet virtually some of our Savvy ambassadors, because I think that just this partnership of all these people who are passionate about the same thing can really just take us in an awesome direction. And just even learning about the core values of Savvy Co-op. I love challenge assumptions because I think ultimately with CP and sharing pictures of people with CP, people associate cerebral palsy with someone typically in a wheelchair or using different mobility aids. And I think it's such a cool thing to be able to challenge people's assumptions by sharing your experiences. And, you know, again, the second one that I love is elevating others, because I think that's what we're all trying to do here, is elevating each other's voices and experiences and kind of reassuring each other that this is important and this is something that we need to work on.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you thinking about it and thinking about the values that our members helped us create. And so that's why, you know, I think we talked about how can you use your experiences to share within a movement like CP Strong. And so we're actually taking it differently, but we're allowing people to share their experiences to improve what we even do at Savvy Co-op, since this is a community-driven platform and organization. And you know, we can't come up with things like our values without others, or our big exciting vote from last week, which I guess this is the first Sunday night we have our official vote that we are now a public benefit corporation as well as a limited cooperative association. So we can't do those things without others. And it takes us challenging what is the norm. Is it normal to have a patient co-op? Maybe not, but yet it's still important, and the patients were ready and wanted it. So, yeah. Well, okay. I have a few little rapid fire questions for you.
Right, here we go.
Close this out, and I'm watching for questions if anybody ends up having some questions coming on. So what do you do when you're not being a Savvy patient? You're out there in Colorado. What do you do for fun?
Yeah. Well, I'm doing hikes that are probably too hard for me. Because I live literally like the Flatirons Mountains are my view when I go on Pearl Street blocks away, and I'm always just like, okay, I want to go to the top of that. So I've tried a couple times and it's been tough, but we do some hikes, my boyfriend and I. Some of them are more pleasant and light than others. Mm-hmm. I just got a bicycle, so I'm official like Boulder community member. So I like to bike around, and I just got into the show Westworld, so I've been watching a lot of that. Yeah, and just hang out with my family when I'm around them, and
awesome.
When I'm near the beach.
You mentioned your family. Anything interesting about your family?
Yeah. Well, my parents are probably watching. So yeah, actually, I grew up in a very unique situation where my dad was literally titled Mr. America for bodybuilding in 1997 when he was 40, and he just competed in his, I don't know, 30-something bodybuilding competition last year and got second in nationals, and his 61-year-old age division. So, and then yeah. So, and then my mom is just an awesome runner, and she owns her own nutrition company. And I grew up basically in the gym. My parents have built and operated 3 gyms throughout my life, and now my brother like co-runs them. And so yeah, just a very athletic family. And I actually grew up playing AYSO soccer and being pretty athletic myself. I guess for my limitations. Tried running at one point, but injured myself pretty quickly. But
running's not my bag either.
Yeah. I'll stick to the bike.
All right. What's your biggest healthcare headache?
I think just like going to the doctor's office and not asking all my questions when I'm like right in front of the doctor. Is that what you mean, kind of? I don't know.
It's a loaded question. You can answer.
Yeah, just kind of not even understanding CP very much until I got my exosome, and the prosthetist really kind of laid it out for me. I'm like, how my CP affects me. Like, this is how involved your hip is. And like, no doctor kind of, at least in my memory, really ever went over that with me. It's like, oh, you have mild CP, and you know, this is how it's going to be. And that was kind of like my life. And my parents were really great about saying, yes, you have cerebral palsy, but it's not going to stop you. And just empowering me that way. But I think just the disconnect between how your own condition is explained to you as a child.
For sure. So we have a couple questions here I want to get to from our audience watching attentively. So what one thing would you like to see Savvy do to improve our co-op?
I have a question for both of us.
No, that's for you. What one thing would Katie like to see?
Oh, I don't know. I just would love to see more kind of experiences on there. Like I can't wait to see the discussion board just like go full blast, and just have gigs that, you know, each member or user can find that's relevant to them, and just to kind of see it explode. I'm waiting.
Yeah. We're up to a tipping point. You members out there, you're ready.
Keep telling your friends about it.
Let's see what else we got. What are some of the key events that led you to be active and launch CP Strong? So what triggered this?
Okay. I guess that's great.
So yeah, if you have like a specific story or a memory.
Well, you know, the phase 1 of that was Teen CP, and I was pretty active on that blog and writing about my experiences. But I think what the moment was getting my exosome, putting it on and having it be really difficult in the first month or so. But one day just kind of being like, wow, I wish I had this my whole life, and just wanting so badly for everyone else to have that same experience. So it was kind of more, the exosome was like, okay, I got to really start a new blog, and I got to really start talking about it again. And then it just kind of has morphed into what it is today, about 2 years later.
That's really cool. Yeah, because I think, you know, a lot of patients find that there's some impetus that leads them to start something, either a blog or just opening up about it in general. So it was your exosome. All right, my last rapid fire question for you. What song title do you think best describes the current state of healthcare?
Oh, okay. Well, you did give me a little bit of time to think about this one, because that would have been hard to think of on the spot. But so I chose Tame Impala's "Feels Like We Only Go Backwards." So I can actually, I think I can play it for you if you want to roll out on that song. Thanks so much for having me, and thank you everyone for tuning in. Yeah. Feel like it took me a second to warm up, but I'm excited.
No, you did amazing. And I hope all of our viewers on here can chime in to help me wish Katy a very happy birthday tomorrow.
Oh, thank you.
It's one thing I'm very good at is remembering birthdays. So share in your comments how happy you are that Katie's here with us and gets to celebrate another birthday. And let's all just thank Katy for being truly awesome, not only here tonight, but I tell her this frequently because she has been my little saving grace. Coming and working with us this summer. It's been absolutely fantastic, and we wouldn't be at this stage and having this chat without her. So thank you.
Thank you.
Why don't you play us out here, and we'll see you guys.
All right. Thanks so much, Jen. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye. We'll dance along as you do.
Okay, here we go.
I'm ready to
hear it.
Let's see.
Can you hear it?
Not yet.
Oh, I don't know if you can hear it. Oh, well, that was a fail.
Hey, it's our only technical glitch for the evening. So
yeah, we tried. Everyone, you can go look it up. It feels like we only go backwards. Alex Turner from the Arctic Monkeys has an even better cover of this song. So go check it out.
Backwards. All right, I put it in the chat for people to find. So.
Awesome.
Fantastic. All right. Well,
everyone,
night. Tune in next week when we actually will have Grace coming on to chat about how to use platforms for social good. So check that out as we continue our Get to Know Savvy Month. And we'll see you guys. Have a great week. Take care. Bye.
Bye.